By a show of hands, how many judges know a person from K? Because now you know me. Hi, my name is Luke Seeley, and this is Ada Valentine, and she'll be talking about personal story.
So, imagine the kid that you just thought about in the following scenario. This is my mom, a middle school science teacher at Barberville Independent Schools. And on September 10th, 2025, she faced every teacher's worst nightmare, a lockdown. At the time, her students were on a bathroom break, and for 30 agonizing minutes, she had to call around the school and locate her kids to make sure they were safe. 30 minutes later, they came back crying because they didn't know what would happen. This is a situation that no teacher should face, and neither should those children. Currently, during lockdown drills, my mom has about 60 seconds to close her door and account for every kid in her classroom. If the kid is caught in the hallway or the bathroom when the alarm sounds, the kid can become invisible to the system.
This invisibility is what we call the accountability gap. It has teachers scrambling for 5 to 15, and even in Miss Hannah Valentine's stories, 30 minutes to try and track down their kid. This is where we introduce Kindred, and Ada's sharing the problem.
Many K-12 schools still rely on manual time tracking methods to account for students. These methods can create accountability gaps during transitions, emergencies, field trips, and in my mom's case, lockdowns. Without real-time location data, schools face increased safety risk, they lose instructional time, and they have a delayed emergency response.
Introducing attendees. Hi, my name is Luke Seeley, and I'm the CEO. This is Xander Black, the CFO, Laura Horsley, the COO, Ada Valentine, the Chief Information Officer, and Austin, the Chief Engineering Officer. Our goal is to simplify attendance for teachers and allow them to know where their students are at all times, whether it's inside the classroom or outside, managing that chaos and scrambling into a real-time location data for them and their students.
Our devices work using an RFID system. RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification. Students will be given a bracelet with an RFID inlay. Whenever they go through a classroom door, there are going to be 2 receivers that are able to detect when these inlays go through the door. This will then be sent to a central computer system, and that will be sent to the computers of each teacher within the school.
These aren't just gadgets. They're critical infrastructure and an assurance-style policy for the schools to know them and their students, teachers are safe.
Now this is our website. Let me get this. It is not working, but if you look at your the business model, you can scan the QR code and follow along with this.
It's a really great website and it actually works, so I definitely recommend you do it.
So this is our user-friendly website. We use it to advertise and so that way teachers can access their part of the website as well as administration. As you navigate the home webpage, you can view the frequently asked questions that we have been asked as we have presented our organization.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Stop the clock, please, okay? We want to get to the website.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this is our user-friendly website. And here you can view our asked questions that we have been asked pretty often. And as you scroll on down through here, you can see our team. And here we have each role of our members. This lets you know who you are getting in contact with, and you can even specify the questions directly to the person you want to talk to. You can hit Enroll Today, and it will take you to the part of our website that you can get in contact with us. And you have to provide your information and your message. At the top, teachers can log in using their information that is given to them, and then they hit Start Now. This will take them directly to their classroom, where they can view the students that are present in their classroom and not present in their classroom. Administration also have a segment of the website that they can do the same thing, but they have more abilities. Now Xander will be giving us our demonstration of our device.
All right. So, as you can see, there are pieces of RFID technology on either side of a door. And let's say I'm a student who is wearing our RFID technology in the form of a bracelet. So all I have to do is walk inside the door, and then boom, it shows that I'm present within the classroom. However, if I decide that I need to take a bathroom break, all I have to do is simply walk out, and then boom, it's shown that I am outside of class. It's as simple as that.
Now, what makes us different? Right now, we have the pleasure of saying that we're the only innovative company who has this idea marketed towards schools. Now, this has been integrated into hospitals, but only in the form of wristbands, and you have to scan in. Ours is a real-time location data where you can go through, as Xander just demonstrated, and it translates into our website in real time. So we only know the location of a student while they're on school property. So no worries if you're at home making cereal or something, we won't know that. And then we'll provide each classroom with RFID readers and provide teachers and administration with a specific segment of their website tailored and personal to them. Now, Ada will be talking about the future advancements.
So at Attendees, we have many future plans that we plan to implement. The first one is applying for a VentureWell E-Team program grant, which is about $25,000 that will be put into our business. The next is we plan to implement our innovative technology of RFID readers into school buses. And next, Austin's going to talk about the different forms of the RFID system.
All right. So in the future, we plan to implement a lanyard system for the middle school age and a card system for high school age students, which will allow them to no longer have to wear the bracelet. We hope that this will make it easier for high school and middle school students to be willing to use our systems.
We also plan to expand into different regions, such as the KVEC, which is the Kentucky Valley Education Cooperative. They include 13 counties, and one of which is my home high school, Barberville Independent Schools.
Which is our next pilot district. And we also have a commitment from Martin County Health District, which is $3,000 renewable.
Oh. Sorry. Okay. Normally there would be an image there of our Excel module. It is not currently there, but on there it lists the 3 variables: the number of students within each school system, the number of rooms within each school, and the total number of schools within the school system. So this would normally be able to show us the expected price of a school, and I know for our example school we have Barberville, which has an estimated 500 students and 120 rooms within the school. There are 2 main variables that would affect the cost, namely the number of students and the number of rooms. So things that would vary with the number of students would be things like the number of bracelets and the number of RFID inlays we would need. Things that would vary with the number of rooms would be things such as the RFID readers themselves. There is an estimated cost for the Barberville school for about $12,500 for material costs directly to attendees.
So right now, our pilot district is Montgomery County, and our team has set up a set of prices for our services. We are planning to implement a one-time cost of $200,000 and an annual fee of $5,000.
Now, this cost includes direct costs and indirect costs. So it includes our labor, our RFID systems, our website, and maintenance, and et cetera.
So whenever we talked to Dr. Matthew Thompson of Montgomery County Schools, he told us that this idea was exceptional. He has implemented many safety devices into his school, but he had never seen one like this before. And he would have loved to incorporate this into his school. Not only did we talk to him, but we talked to an 8-year safety director of West Carter Schools. He told us that this idea was phenomenal. He even encouraged us to get a patent on this. He told us how he would have loved to incorporate this into his school district.
Yes, and what's beautiful about this organization is that we're actively trying to do it. We have contacted each one of our home high schools in the implementation of this process, and we have a commitment from Martin County Health District, as I said. And now here's Ada talking about her mother.
We asked my mom what she thought of our idea, and she said, as a teacher and a mom, I'm aware that times have changed. An integral part of a teacher's role is keeping her students safe. In case of any emergency situation, it is paramount that teachers know exactly where every student is and that they are safe. Any device that could help in that endeavor would be welcome in my classroom.
Thank you, guys. And as we said before, on the business model canvas, you have access to our QR code, which is to our website. Any questions?
I feel like a broken record because I have lots of questions again. I think this is a phenomenal idea. So I agree with your parents and all the people that said all the positive things. Unfortunately, I was a parent of a lockdown with an active shooter. I have 6 kids. I had 2 in the high school, 2 that were in the grade school. All the schools got shut into lockdown. And I sat at home watching helicopters and blockades and military, and I think we had 5 different counties come in and descend on our tiny little town of 5,000 people while an active shooter was in the schools. As a parent, I didn't hear anything about how your RFD would communicate to a parent. Because if you had something beyond a lockdown, there is nothing more terrifying to a parent than not knowing what's happening to your child. I don't know how you could incorporate that information, whether you build an app that would also allow a parent to understand what's happening to their child. Because a lockdown is one thing in a practice mode, but when something actually happens, parents aren't allowed. Like, I was not allowed within a mile of anything because the cops were surrounding everything, guns were drawn, military helicopters. You couldn't go within a mile of the school. All I could do was stand and watch. I didn't know if my kids were safe. All I did was cry for about 6 hours. And I had no contact. And my kids laid on the floor in their classrooms for 6 hours. That's all. I worry about that even here on this campus. We don't have active shooter training for faculty here. I don't know why. I've asked about it. I didn't see any expansion into colleges. Have you thought about that?
Absolutely. So I'm so glad you brought this up, actually. As we know, students are our main, they're our future, and they're invaluable resources. And I feel like it's important to, and Lori was actually just touching on this topic, we're currently trying to build a website to have a parent interface. So teachers can go directly and talk with the parents and have like a bar where it says that they're safe, or if something like were that to happen, we'll update the parents and through a mass communication system. So that's how we're going to expand through the parent interface. Now for the college interface, it's important that we first stabilize the infrastructure of this starting stages, and then we can move towards colleges.
I would also like to add on to that. We may be able to create an app such like the ones that schools already have, but create a parent face to where they can see what classroom that their student has checked into, which would give them security as to knowing, hey, my student is in the classroom and safe with a teacher.
Do you have any data on how often lockdowns happen in this area?
At this time, we do not, but we all have experienced a lockdown.
Okay.
I experienced 2 and 3 times when we had like the police come in and raid our classrooms just to make sure there was no weapons in our classroom. So we have all experienced it on the stage, and I'm sure many people in the audience have too.
Okay. I think getting some of that data might help you promote your product a little bit easier, especially selling it. I know college campuses, for whatever reason, love to get targeted by active shooters for some reason. So having data on how often these are occurring. Now I think they're they're pretty low numbers, but you don't want to be one of them.
Okay, nice presentation. I saw all the roles that each of you have. As far as expense goes and other employees, will they be more employees besides the 5 of you? And the expense side of that, do you have you guys put a number on that?
Great question. So right now, the 5 of us are the team. We're not currently looking to expand, and we have a phenomenal, unique skill sets each one of us have, in which we utilize. So we're not looking to expand, but we are looking for mentorship. So we're reaching out to schools and their school districts, and especially the superintendents, to see what their advice is, and we take that into our company, and you will see that reflected on the website interfaces to make them user-friendly and intuitive. And what was your second question? Was that it? Wonderful.
You guys did a great job presenting, and I like the personal tie-in that you had. It drives everything home. I don't have any questions. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful presentation. My question is, do you have, I didn't see I kind of have an idea of the startup funds you need, but do you have a 3 or 5 year projection, a plan, a financial plan, and revenues that will come in?
Great question. So we have, right now we're starting to get that 5-year plan in foundation, but we have a 30 to 35% profit margin. So right now, when we see profit, we just bring it back to the business, and we're trying to file for LLC status, so limited liability corporation, to both maximize our profits and to maximize our advertisement.
Thank you. And the other question I have is there a value-added product that you could, in addition to what you're doing? So let's say a student falls in the bathroom. Is there something you could add to this product that might be helpful? And we've already talked about the lockdown situation with parents.
With the geo-tracking system that we currently have, it would be hard to implement something along those lines of like a fall detection system, because it's mostly just intended to detect which classroom they are in, not exactly like the specific location that they are. We could, in the future, if we wanted to, use radio systems near the ceilings that could triangulate the position and maybe detect if they fell or if they've been in the same space for a long time. That would be a future advancement, but currently with the system we have, that would require some more systems.
Thank you.
That was a wonderful presentation. I think you've all done a wonderful job. I was glad to hear that you are already working with KVEC and that you already have investments, or commitments rather, for funding. I also like the testimonials on your website. I thought that was really strong. I was going to ask about the fact that these are wearable bracelets. And I was just curious, I think maybe someone mentioned potentially having them in the lanyard or like your school ID system. I just mentioned that because I know when I was in school, I might have passed off my bracelet to somebody.
Yeah.
And wondered. So I was just curious about that.
I can do that. All right. So similarly to his points, in the future, we do plan on using the radio system to actually triangulate their position within the classroom. So if we detect that 2 students or their tags may be within a very close proximity to one another, we could actually detect if one student is using multiple tags at the same time, which could allow us to, understand that.
Great question.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
In terms of production, do you know what your unit cost is for a bracelet?
Yes, we do. We had it on the form that we had pulled up. I don't have it off memory, but I believe it's about 34 cents. There's an issue with the image loading, so.
It's on the bottom there. Of course, you can't see the actual numbers, but it's too tiny. But on the bottom there is our interactive module. I mean, we basically, Austin is phenomenal at this. He just puts how many bracelets we need and how many students there are, and it automatically populates what the cost is, how much funding we need to get for it, and what resources we need to go to for that.
And then another question, sort of the premise, right? It was that your mom's in the classroom, her kids aren't in the classroom, she doesn't know where they are, that's a problem. If your device is only about kids in the classroom, what happens when they're wandering out in the hallways? And I guess you we're kind of just speaking to that, but is it solving the problem? If the kids aren't in the classroom and they aren't in anybody else's classroom, then do you know where they are?
Great question. So, I'm saying a great question a lot. Now, we know from once they walk through a classroom or they walk through an entry point, it automatically updates within our system. So if they leave the classroom and they go to the bathroom, it automatically populates, and the teachers have access to that, and only the teachers and administration. Does that answer your question?
Sort of, but so you don't know where they are once they leave the classroom unless they enter another classroom.
So I can take that. So the RFID readers can be placed on any door frame. So it can be bathrooms, school offices. So then, if a kid goes to a counselor, the teacher would know that. So it speaks to all the different rooms.
And also the hallways, actually.
Yes.
So we have, say, West End hallway or point A, point B. If they walk through that, and they'll probably be in between 5 and 10 feet, if they walk through that entryway, it automatically populates. So we'll have them throughout the system, so a student couldn't travel too far before it automatically populates within the system.
Does it identify which indicator, like which RFID indicators gone past, so they know exactly where they are, or just that they went past the indicator?
Yeah, so the reason that we have 2 per doorway is that way we can actually detect whenever they are going through as opposed to whenever they're just passing. Wait, sorry, your question was regarding knowing that they actually went in the classroom, correct? All right.
Knowing, if you could see them passing through a classroom door or a bathroom door or another classroom door, but you know which door they're going in. They may go into a different classroom they're not supposed to be in.
Oh, yeah. So we plan to have it so that way each classroom has its own setup. So it'll be connected to the internal server, and the server will have a bunch of different groups where the students will be added. So we can just set that up for each different classroom. We don't need to make all classrooms the same.
Yeah, so each classroom will be completely tailored and different. So we know exactly what classroom they pass through, and it would have a name like Miss Smith's classroom, or, and you'll know where they are, or room 305. Yeah.
Throwing it through the door, going the other way.
Yes.
Or forgetting it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this comes with the school. So we plan to have a contract that the schools have to sign, that we give the liability off to them. So they will be in charge of deciding whether the students get to take them home or don't, leave them in the classrooms, so that way we don't have to be responsible for that, as that is the school's responsibility. As taking them off and playing with them, that will also fall under the liability of the schools, and how they want to go about that.
And we are also integrating an infrastructure and where we can tell that. So detecting the heart rate or something like that, in case if a natural disaster goes astray or something like that, or if they take it off and they realize that the heart isn't beating anymore and now it suddenly is at a different rate. And we're trying to integrate that in our future advancements. Also, as Laura said, we're writing contracts and understanding corporate rights and all that. I'm sure you're all familiar. And yeah, we're just really looking forward to advancements now, and also getting this conceptual company further having a foundation, if that makes sense. And you had a question. What was it? It was, the taking home. Okay, perfect. So if a student takes theirs home, and we, fortunately, our chief engineering and financial officer already calculated that within the cost. So that'll be labeled as an indirect cost, and they will have extra bracelets, probably, depending on their school, about 10% of the student population or 5% in case if they get lost or hurt or damaged. Any more questions?
Thank you, Alberta.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you very much.